it contributes to that when
Yes. So photosystem 2 is the one that is going to split the water and is going to contribute some protons and the electrons. And then you have photosystem 1, the antenna complex, sorry, photosystem 2, the antenna complex gathering light. So it absorbs light, excites the electrons. The electrons will basically flow down the electron transfer chain, pump some protons in the process, then this will be energy less electrons are going to be transferred to system 1, which absorbs light again, powers them, and then reduces the number of proteins, and at the end, any of these that we're losing will reduce any heat to any tension. So one of the things is that keep in mind both photosystems will absorb same amount of photons. Photosystem 2 is the one that splits the water, but they both absorb the same amount of photons to power this process. So if I ask you, what are the ultimate electron donor and electron acceptor in the light reaction? What would they be?
The donor would be water technically, and then the acceptor would be the NADP plus or
Yeah, the NAD plus. So the electron donor is water, and the electron acceptor is NAD plus. That is going to become NAD. Okay, so hopefully this summarizes like the scheme of photosynthesis. The next time you see it, you're going to hate it. So it's like the overall picture. So I want you to work in the worksheet I gave you. There are some questions coming from this. What that you can talk to me.
I was just ready to back and forth reactions.
I would need my notes.
For the most part. The only one I can't remember though is the name for the. I kind of got
got it. I know it's cytoplasmic
It is-
something, CDF or
It is very close to one of the components of our electron transportation, but I don't know if that's
something. It's like I don't want it. Cytoplasmic C6 complex.
usually.
What does it do?
Uh,
What does it do?
So the photosynthesis puts more gets more electrons, but in binary states and the process with gets PQ is the molecule that goes so it goes PQ drops it off here, and then PQ is here. The high energy electron places another electron here to here, or increases and then PQ plus the electron goes to, I think now it's called PDF or it's here. And then it goes to because it's reduced plus energy and then you're in the same pump with the other protons.
So it's transferred like protons in, right?
This complex.
Or Hearing none of that is possible, but I'm going to.
So that's one. Oh, it's going out to somewhere else.
Yes. No, so it's not related to. Yeah, so remember the way they work is we are creating identity. So as they go down with it. And this one is where the kind of cycle happens. So once you have it there, it's just very.
So for this last question, for this what's right? Is that ADP stroma?
Yeah.
Does ADP
Yes, yes, it's a strong. Is the strong also related to the protein rate? You have more protein here than here, right?
right? And
So then as they our ATP synthase going down, the ATP is going to be slower. And then the Kelly cycle happens on the strong, which needs the ATP and the NADP. So,
that's right. Because isn't ADP, they use the ADP single cell goes to
Yes.
pump and then it turns,
Yes.
adds the electrolytes in each one. And you get
It turns with the protons. As the protons
right, as a
flow,
proton,
they
right? But isn't it, so the top part's what adds?
Yeah, so the ATP synthase has the base that's embedded in the membrane and the head. The base is the one where the ring is for the protons get in, and the head is the catalytic.
What did you say? It looks like for A. Yeah, it's just basic.
Yeah, the last day we want that. You just can't bring. Well, I'm not saying plant based or something. I mean, I'm just saying like.
Patient is
So with the other or do you have anything
Two lines.
I'm not. Well, But
Okay, so, yes. Yes.
The PS2 cytochrome, PS1 and increase PS2 oxidized water protons,
Wait. So the name starts at PS2.
cytochrome, PS1 and increase.
Okay, good. So the main function.
Yes, PS2 oxidized water protons, cytochrome oxidizes EQH2, adjacent electrons to PS1. PS1 reduces the NADH for the decreases the produced.
Yes. So basically, we have PS2, PS1. We're familiar with those. In between, there's the electron transport chain. So there are many more protein complexes. We probably saw a couple of them there. But cytochrome, these are just like cytochrome. There's something in the middle that is going to transfer these electrons and then synthase. So two of them will absorb light. So PS2 and PS1. PS2 will split water and provide electrons. Cytochrome B6F is the connector between PS2. It's like the last protein complex that's used between PS2 and PS1, so transfers electrons here. Also, an important thing that we didn't have to know, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. The cytochrome B6F also pumps protons. Remember, we are creating a gradient. There has to be more protons on one side than in the other. So this complex also is involved in contributing some of these protons. Remember the electron transport chain in mitochondria? As they get reduced, they use some of the energy from those electrons and protons. So this one also does. Then this one gets those hydrogen electrons and uses them to reduce an ATP and ATP synthesized. So those are the four main goals of these. So this is the picture that you have. So oxidation of water, and this is what you're seeing here. So it's the transfer of some electrons because we're not talking about assigning or classifying on. Let's just say cytochrome does this. So protons are also pumped in this process, and then it reads.
Okay, not 100% sure doing math mode. Isn't it 5 though?
For what?
Because you have 4 protons coming from spin water. So you have 2
Yeah.
molecules. You get further. Then you have one that comes across from cytochrome. So there's your 4 protons. Then you can use one of them for the reduction of NADP plus NADPH. And then the rest you use for ATP. ADP to ATP.
So you say 5. So here's the thing. So you got one part that is correct, and it's the 4 from water. So you have to give me more, but we're going to give you the 4. So every time we think photosynthesis, you're going to see the book. It will always say 2 molecules of water. Why? Because this is an error, right? You don't produce a molecule of oxygen with 1 molecule of water. So that's why books usually have 2 water molecules. So from this split, from 2 hydrogens, you get 4 protons and 4 electrons. So this split, you're already contributing some protons here on this side of it. But you don't get just 1. How many do you get? From the transfer of 2 molecules of water from cytochrome B6. Yeah.
Would you get 4 again? Because you would use if you excite the was it PQ 4 times, and each one of them has one excited electron, which means you pump 1 proton across it before saying 8 electrons.
Well, it's actually 4 per molecule of water. The answer is yes, but those are so. This is not very like specifically relatable. It's just like spread all through this process. Remember, there's a reason that I'm asking you to count these products, and it's going to become important. So you have 4 protons from the molecules of water, and then 4 per molecule of water. More than per molecule of water per pair of electrons, but again, there's something moving here, so 8. So 4 and 8. So every time you run this cycle with 2 molecules of water and you put molecules of oxygen, you have 12 protons accumulated on one side of the data group. This is really a basic question. Yes.
So put through the ATP synthase to create ATP from ADP.
And how do you call that process?
That's
Photosphorylation. So process is known as photosphorylation. We are going to use PIDE to phosphorylate ATP to produce ATP. If you're comfortable, you don't have to talk about the entire structure of ATP synthesis. Just roughly remember from your worksheet, where is the higher protein concentration? Where is ATP going to be released? And based on that, how is that relevant to ATP synthesis?
Okay, so you need a higher. Okay.
Sorry, is anybody that hasn't answered today want to do that? I guess that's
This is a higher concentration or like a higher pH on the outside than the lower inside because of the
outside where?
so it'd be on the stroma side, and then you want the lumen side to be lower in pH because of the A plus that's higher on the lumen side. And then so you're gonna have ADP and your H are gonna be coming from the lumen side into the ATP synthase, and then you're gonna have the proton that goes into the proton pump, which is then gonna cause it to spin, which is gonna put it's gonna phosphorylate your ADP and then release it on the other side with ATP on the stroma side.
Yes. So remember, you pick the side on your worksheet, whichever side A or B. So in this case, we're calling side A the stroma, and side B is the thylakoid. So the pH is going to be lower on the thylakoid domain because basically this is where you had the lumen, all of these products being produced. So driving products there, that's lower pH. And then what happens is your ATP synthase is going to use some of these products to do a couple of things. The ATP synthase has 2 main units or subunits. One embedded in the membrane, and that is well, think of it as we're going to carousel like a ring, and that ring, products are going to come in that ring, and as they come in that ring, they are going to make that ring twist. As it moves, that is going to cause this area, that is the in the stroma, that is the head of the ATP to also change configuration. So as protons come on one side and make it basically uh, twist or whatever, that is going to move the head. And as the head moves, it is going to consolidate ATP into ATP. And this is like exactly the same thing that I did in cell biology. So think of the ATP synthesis as a Ramu machine in which you put enough points that are going to be your protons. And if you put enough points, you can twist this enough that is going to give you one ATP. And you need 4 protons to release one ATP. So if anybody wrote this down, yes. Why? Yeah, so that gives you 4. That gives you 3 ATPs. Why is that? Because we said, let's just do recap what we talked about. We have 4 and 8, that gives you 12. And if you need 4 of these protons to release one ATP, that gives you 3 ATPs every time you run the cycle, every time you put some oxygen. And you know, 4 and 8. And overall, why was I making you count this? Because when you look at the reaction of photosynthesis or the chemical reactions, you can see the 2 molecules to water and 3. So now you know how that's vital, how that's related. And then every time you do this, you release one. Right, so 2 molecules of water is 1 molecule of oxygen and 28 is water. Let's see if anybody else. Take your time, think about it. This is well, I guess.
So the experiment was to check how gradient or how the hydrogen gradient impacted chloroplasts. So what they did is they put it was normally an 8 pH solution. They changed, I believe, a 4 or 5, and let it go down to that, and then it was moved back, and it was moved back to the 8 pH, and the gradient that was created was able to power photosynthesis based off the gradient alone.
Yeah, so which cell components did they test? What were they moving? You're writing everything. What were they moving? Because it wasn't the entire cell. And when you think about this, you have an entire cell. Sorry. Oh, what? So when you think about it, if you have the entire cell and you're moving it, then to adjust to each, it's a lot of things to adjust. So
It was just a chloroplast. I'm not sure if it was more specific.
it was a bit more specific than that. What did they move?
With the pellet stacks.
So they moved the glycoid stacks, okay? So they moved the glycoid stacks so let's just go with it. So they moved the glycoid stacks. And what happened? What was exactly produced? When they switched the pH, what exactly was produced? What did they measure?
The composition of peptides. pH. So we first put it in a low pH system, create deep living lumen, and then they move it to a high pH solution in order for that heat.
So what does that tell you? What is ATP going to be released?
It's going to be released within the strong light.
In strong, yeah. So all of this is basically so this is an experiment that they had the thylakoids isolated, so the sacs of thylakoids. And they put it at pH 4 and they allow the extracellular pH, extrathylakoid pH, and then the interior of the thylakoids to balance pH 4. Okay? And so then what they do is they basically move the thylakoid to pH 8. And now you have a gradient, right? And then once you have a gradient, it's kind of what the light is doing. Is instead of you using electrons or not using electrons to create this gradient, you create it here because the outside has a different pH relative to the inside. And then, the ATP, if you think about it, you have the thylakoids. That. And so you put everything at pH 4, everything has the same relative. Then you move it at pH 8. But you don't allow everything to settle. So now out here is pH 8, but here is still pH 4. So you have the gradient here with ATP exiting here and this being released in the zone, which in this case is outside of the solution, and you can ATP being released. And this clearly didn't need light because you don't need light, you don't need electrons. This is all that you're doing artificially. So the total energy for ATP synthesis is known as the protein multiforms because it's the product gradient that is created in synthesis. And it's a result of two things, the pH gradient and the voltage, which is the difference in the membrane potential, the voltage across it.
Eventually it would reach equilibrium, and so it would stop. The pH would equalize on either side because it's not like transporting protons actively into the cell.
Yeah. So basically what happens is because this is an artificial system, once it comes off hydrogens in here, that the gradient is no longer, the pH gradient is gone and the voltage gradient is gone. Then eventually it will stop releasing ATP because again there's no active electron transport for anything like that. The linear and non-linear photosynthesis.
So in this case, because we're talking about CO2 is not going to be involved. And then for the H2O, they're not producing H2O, it's what's going to go in it. And then as far as ATP, they both produce ATP, and they both are going to have O2 as units, but only the linear ones are going to produce NADPH, and the cyclic are not going to produce NADPH.
Okay, so let's talk about the other one yet, because the other one is the next one. So, what is produce? Yes, I know you're getting it. So let's just focus on the linear. Which ones are placed in the linear?
Linear would be the NADPH, the O2, and the ATP.
Yes, that's correct. So the linear are ATP, NADPH, and oxygen. What about the hydrogen? Electron. Or cyclic velocity. Well, not cyclic. Cyclic electron. Oh, yes. Yes. So ATP. So the only thing you're going to be producing is
That's-
ATP.
No.
So linear electron flow, yeah, I hate this picture, but is the regular photosynthesis. The regular photosynthesis that we're talking about is the linear electron flow. You have the water here, cytochrome, I don't even recognize. Photosystem 2, photosystem 1, ATP synthase, everything, right? This is the linear electron. The one that is non-linear, that is this cyclic one, what happens is hopefully, it's very confusing actually. Oh, actually, then what is it?
You take the electrons from NADPH, basically put them back in the cytochrome, and then recreate proton gradient or ATP.
Yes, so you take the electrons, actually not from NADP, just one step before from ferric. So instead of you have ferridoxin, which is, the last component before NADP is reduced to NADPH. So instead of ferridoxin using these high energy electrons to reduce NADP, they have basically transferred back to that second component that you have in the equation. So instead of continuing to produce ATP or NAD to produce NADPH, they go back to cytochrome B6F, and remember that cytochrome is involved in pumping more products in the lumen. So instead of producing NADPH, what you're doing is using that energy to basically give you more products and contribute to the gradient. That is the ultimate goal. I like this figure better, so instead of ferridoxin, basically like here, and you stay doing this process. So of course light is absorbed but only by photosystem 1. It's like you isolate photosystem 2, and let's just do this. We don't care about any pH. We don't care about oxygen. Let's just stay here and accumulate protons to produce ATP. So that's cyclic photosynthesis. So what it produces is ATP, what it does not produce oxygen or ATP. Yes, right.
Would it be under a low light where it's not, doesn't have enough energy to keep making NADP? So it just needs ATP.
So why do you think low light?
Because it wouldn't be getting enough light to have enough to break down enough water to keep making an NADPH enough, so it just needs ATP so the cells keep functioning.
Yeah. So well, that's actually very good. It's a very good point. I never thought about the low light, but just have something. So one of the main things is that we're gonna talk more about this more on Wednesday, but remember those 3 ATPs that are released and those 20 pH that are released every time you oxidize 2 molecules of water? Well, technically, just if you do divide the equation, 3 ATPs and 20 pH is what is needed to fix each CO2. So perfect is like a 50 pH and I'm going to finish to 60. But apparently that's not the case. Apparently somehow the plant needs more heat. And so you want to give it a try, right? So you were right on light, but it's kind of the opposite.
Would it be when the lights depends?
Yes. And so how do you think focusing? So you had it on the low light, and I actually never thought about it as a possibility maybe. So what do you think when a plant is exposed to high light? It would probably take all the signal electron.
Would it be because it shuts down photosystem 2? Because the light's too intense, so it just takes the one type of light that photosystem, it's too intense for the chlorophyll to absorb from photosystem 2, but only photosystem 1 can absorb it.
Yes. So basically that's what it is. So what we have is what we have in this process is, remember, so photosystem 2 is the one that peaks at lower wavelength, which means there's a little bit more energy. But also is the one that carries the biggest challenge, which is oxidizing water. So this requires a lot of energy to do. Also, when you oxidize water by photosystem 2, you produce oxygen. And you, don't know if you know, but remember, in our own regular respiration, that oxygen can damage our own mitochondria. Oxygen is highly reactive. And if it interacts with other reactive species, it can actually become toxic. So when the plant has excess light, it's like, I can live without this. I don't need to absorb so much energy, plus I don't have to deal with oxygen. So we already got the electrons that we needed. Let's just keep using those electrons we don't need more and focus on ATP to maintain plant survival rather than exposing to ATP. You can mention one specific point.
The carotenoids protect the chlorophyll from excessive light, so if the carotenoids get damaged by excessive light, then also damage the chlorophyll.
Yes, and we're going to talk about carotenoids. So carotenoids are very important, but how does light damage plants? Light itself. Doesn't have to be specific, but what do you think it happens?
Would it be like excessive light within damage like other systems?
But why? What do you think? Again, you don't have to be specific. What do you think light can do that? Okay, yeah, so high temperatures are something, right? You can regulate light. less. So also, can you think of anything else? Well, one of the things you do is you can always produce ATP, so I don't think that itself would be a problem. But okay, so what could be the trouble? How can light damage stress? Yes.
We were talking about oxygen. Oxygen is next to oxygen. Reactive.
Yeah, and how do you call that when oxygen is ready to react?
So the next,
Yeah. So the overall sort of term is when you produce free radicals, right? Or reactive oxygen species, which is a type of free radical. So one of the things that happens is, first of all, excess of high energy electrons, and also especially kind of related to what Caitlin was saying. We're going to talk about carbon next time, but it is, remember there are different waves and excess light, right? If you is kind of overflowing the system and it's like too much light and the plant is just processing it as fast as it can. And if the energy of the electrons, remember we talked about how the plant has to get rid of some of that excess energy, get saturated all of that system. All of that excess of electrons itself can damage the photosystem, so the chlorophyll molecules. And one of the, of course, most important things is that the photosystem too releases oxygen, and oxygen can generate reactive oxygen. So remember in the previous class we talked about when chlorophyll absorbs energy, in this case, it excites electrons, and that high energy state of chlorophyll has to, that higher energy has to be dissipated either as fluorescence, as heat, or transferred into another molecule. And so how are carotenoids? So how are carotenoids? Basically, in which of these three steps do they help with? And how do they help with? Do they help with fluorescence? Do they help with heat? Do they help with transfer energy to another molecule? Okay, so I want to restart.
Is it heat and energy?
So what do they do? How are carotenoids involved?
So, so doesn't it like lessen the energy, like the total energy that is being into or taken in or transferred, and then the energy also transfers over to heat, which can also further damage the cell, which the carotenoids help eliminate. Like they're kind of like a safety valve, like they kind of help regulate.
Yeah, so carotenoids, basically do something. They can, remember, whenever we have a diagram of the closer to 400 nanometers in the wavelength. So carotenoids can deal with higher energy without being damaged. And it is because the excited state of carotenoids is not, the excited state of carotenoids is not as reactive as the excited state of chlorophyll. So it's easier for the plant if it has too much energy to deal with the carotenoids. You deal with this for a little while because chlorophyll cannot deal with it. The carotenoids will basically absorb some of that energy and then eventually transfer that energy to chlorophyll after they have absorbed some of that energy. And so basically this is the last slide that happened today. So we have the photoprotection against photo damage in photosystem 1 because one is the one that's dealing with oxygen. So the excess volume, sometimes you can either get rid of some of that excess energy by heat, or the second defense after some of it is released by heat, but if it's like saturated or it's just too much, you have the second line of defense that is the scavenging system. One of the most important ones is carotenoids. So they will absorb some of the energy so that it doesn't hit the antenna campus in photosystem. Okay? Yes.
Couldn't it also technically be like fluorescence protected? Didn't you say last class that it was a different color so that it like doesn't absorb? Because like chlorophyll is like green.
Yes, but so the thing is that fluorescence is the like I mean it's not the same as bioluminescence, but you would need to see plants glow kind of in the dark. They would need to be emitting light. So that's what fluorescence is because that energy you are seeing it dissipated as light. So the plant itself will have to emit light. So like
for it to
glow,
be
which maybe a Christmas. So think about that. So that would mean fluorescence, that is emitting light itself. More than just seeing it perfectly.
So is that happening with the most sense that we see? It's just like usually only like a couple like electrons that are doing that at a time, and not like enough to actually be like a visible band? Or is that, or does fluorescence not happen very often?
In plants, no, I don't think plants just have the ability to do that because there's usually so the entire mechanism of fluorescence you kind of also have to have a protein or a mechanism that absorbs that light. Like the green fluorescent protein, all of the protein that can absorb that light gets to an excited stage, once absorbs that energy and falls to the ground state by emitting that. So it has to be an entire photochemical process that, as far as I'm aware, plants haven't, but I think. Okay? Any questions? Good. Is your kind of like watching